Well, hello and welcome back to the Shallow Proclamation. My name is Thomas, and as always, I am joined by
Paul.
We're watching the final episode of Frontier in Space. What a delight this story has been.
Yeah, it's been brilliant. It's really held us, hasn't it?
It has, yeah. I feel like I've really followed it all the way through. Sometimes with some of the six-parters, I feel like I get slightly lost in the weeds in the middle.
Yeah.
But this is really...
Yeah, I know exactly what you
along.
mean. It is possible to sort of lose the thread in some longer stories sometimes, isn't it? And you've got the general idea, but if you kind of said, why are they specifically doing this thing? Sometimes you go,
Yeah.
not sure, but it's fine.
Oh, there we go.
There we go. It's the drashing again. Oh, so she's seeing a mutant there.
Yeah.
From the mutants.
Oh, a sea devil.
Nice.
Is there going to be a Dalek?
And I warn the President that the people of Earth will no longer tolerate murderous attacks. I hear the cries all around me.
Who does that remind me of? It's a bit like, you know, Willem Dafoe can be in, you know, phenomenal roles and also ones that are kind of goofy.
Yeah.
I could almost imagine him playing that sort of character. This is our final chance. Oh, the Doctor's outfit is especially... It's working for me at the moment as a combo. The kind of green...
Yeah. And the cape,
red.
it sort of fits with the Draconians as well, doesn't it?
Yeah. How do you like them apples?
Oh, I get a bit more of this spacewalk stuff.
Yeah. Do you reckon they filmed all this on the same day?
I was going to say, yeah, I wonder if they did, because I think by this stage they weren't filming things necessarily sort of in the order they were coming.
Right, yeah. Yes, you're getting quite a lot of shadow of the cables there, but that's
yes. The Ogrons give this a slightly Planet of the Apes feel.
Yeah. You know what? That's such a good shout, actually.
In this setting on their planet, I think with them in those outfits as well, it just has that feel to it.
Surrender or you'll be shot down!
He's unarmed. Unarmed may be, but not unaccompanied. I've brought some old friends along to meet you.
Ah. Whoa. Wow, I was not expecting that. Already the Master working with the Daleks.
You are in our power and you will be exterminated.
No, not yet.
You will obey the Daleks.
You know as well as I do that this man does not fear death. I want him to suffer a much worse punishment. Look, my skill and cunning has brought about this war which will make you the masters of the galaxy. Leave the Doctor with me, and let him see the result of that war. Let him see the galaxy in ruins. Let him see the planet Earth that he loves so much in ruins. Then exterminate him.
Very well. He will remain your prisoner until the war is concluded. Then you will bring him to us, and we shall exterminate him. We shall now return to our base and prepare the army of the Daleks.
This story's doing everything, isn't it?
Yeah.
We'll see who rules the galaxy when this is over. Do not fail the Daleks indeed, you stupid tin boxes.
He did a little impression.
There are no Daleks! The Daleks have all left the planet!
The Daleks said to open the cell!
Get here now. Fetch the others. I want them here immediately.
What are you doing?
Telepathic circuits. Sending a message to the Time Lords.
There you go.
Wow. That was quite something. I was not expecting that.
Yeah. Yeah, what did you make of it all?
Yeah, is that the first time we've had a story that kind of sets up the next story in such a...
Definitely in this sort of era. Like, it was quite common in the Hartnell years, wasn't it?
Yeah, where
For
you'd...
things to go straight from one to the next, almost.
Sure, where you'd have kind of something that ties it into the next story at the end. But that was almost... This almost felt different because it almost feels like the story's continuing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like I think I said to you, didn't I, when it started, like it's almost like a 12-parter, but it is two separate 6-parters, you know.
Yes, you did say that.
With it.
Yeah.
So there is that sort of lead into it there.
That was very nicely done. Yeah.
Did you suspect the Daleks were going to make an appearance with the Master talking about sort of your masters are on their way and stuff? And
yeah, that line made me think, oh, okay, interesting. Yes, and that makes sense because the Daleks were the masters of the Ogrons last time. But then I also thought, oh, could it be another kind of big bad that it's building to? But no, I like the fact that it's the Daleks. No, that's really nice. And the Master kind of working with them, sort of, is interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and it's not really, it's only really when you get to this final episode that you get any inkling of that. I think maybe, I can't remember, he might have mentioned in the previous story his employers or something, or...
Yes. Yeah.
But you've got no real sense at that stage of who it might be, unless, I guess, you're thinking Ogrons. But then he says, I think he said to the Ogrons, you know, he said to the Doctor, I employ them, you know, and then as his masters with someone else. So yeah, I don't think you, until near the end of this episode, I don't think you have a huge idea of what's coming.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's really well done. Really enjoyable story. Lots of locations, great aliens, some nice just dynamics between the Joe, the Doctor, and the Master. Quite good. Like a lot of the story actually was the Master and Joe, wasn't it? And that was quite interesting to see that dynamic. It was often him going off with her, taking her away from the Doctor, and then the Doctor having to kind of come in, but Joe being very kind of capable and brave on her own as well, which was good to see. So
yeah, being able to resist all the stuff was very good. Yeah, no,
awesome.
She really came into her own in this story, I think, in particular, which is great.
Yeah. No, that was a very enjoyable story, like very ambitious, but it kind of pulled it all off.
I think the original version of the story had the original idea was for the Cybermen to be working with the Master, but the Cybermen actually the Ogrons replaced the Cybermen. So that never came about, but yeah,
that's interesting.
And it'd be interesting to know what you sort of make of Delgado through that story as well. I mean, obviously, because we've not had the Master. I think we said we didn't have him since the end of the last season with the Time Monster.
Yeah, it felt like they'd upped the sinister dial just a little bit. You get some proper manic laughs, which I know we've seen before, but also just the real kind of scheming of wanting to make Joe, you know, give the signal to the Doctor to lead the Doctor to the trap. Wanted to draw things out rather than just because he's like, before you kill the Doctor, I want him to see the galaxy and Earth, which he loves so much. I want to watch him watch that perish and then kill him. You're like, man, this guy is kind of unpleasant.
Yeah. But I think in the midst of all that as well, he's still got this incredibly charming
totally.
sort of character and nature, hasn't he? He's very suave, you know, and he's the way he talks to Joe and my dear Miss Grant, you know, all these things, you know, it's...
Yes, absolutely.
It's wonderful sort of affectations he has.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, the reason I ask about that is because actually... sadly, this is the last story that features Roger Delgado
Oh, really?
as the Master, because a few months after this was filmed, this when he passed away.
Oh, gosh.
He was actually killed in a car crash
Oh,
in
goodness.
Turkey when his car went off a cliff, and he passed away. And I think from what I mean, we might return to it later because my understanding is that he was somewhere to film another TV show, and he had missed the car that was sent by the studio for him to go and do this work, and so he got a local taxi or someone to drive him, and ended up in having this accident and being killed. And I think, maybe you have to dive deep into this when we get to the story that it comes at. I believe it's the case that because he hadn't gone in the car that was sent by the company he was working for, the insurance wouldn't pay out anything for his family because he hadn't done that. So his wife actually features in a later Pertwee story, and I believe it's the case that Barry Letts, the producer, and the team of Doctor who were kind of a regular team, basically wanted her in the show because they wanted to be able to pay her and give her some money.
Wow.
Because obviously they hadn't received anything when Delgado had passed away. So yeah, it's a shame really, because apparently Delgado himself had felt that he wanted to wrap up his time with the show, because he found he wasn't getting other roles, because people assumed that he was working full time on Doctor Who, whereas of course he was only doing the odd story now.
Yeah.
And so it had been agreed that in the next season he would have a sort of final sort of story, and it was going to be called The Final Game, and it was going to be revealed that the Doctor and the Master were brothers.
Oh, wow. Oh, okay.
And the Master was actually going to die sacrificing himself to save the Doctor. But of course that never gets made. That's not the history we get with the Doctor and the Master. Although there was a little bit of a reference, I think, in, is it like The Sound of Drums or Last of the Time Lords, one of those where the Martha says to the Doctor, "Oh, I thought you were going to say he was your long lost brother or something." And the Doctor says, "You've been watching too much TV."
Yes.
Which I think is a reference to that story. But of course, so that never comes about. That was the original intention of what would happen with the Doctor and the Master, and that the Master was supposed to be sort of his brother and stuff, and he would sort of be redeemed.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, and that's it. So there's no more Master. Sadly, you don't get any resolution there.
Gosh. What a sad end to the... Yeah.
Yeah, and I think Pertwee was quite quite distressed by Roger Delgado's passing. I think they got on quite well, and Pertwee had a lot of respect for him. Was quite it's quite a deep affection for him, and was was quite sort of grief stricken by him passing away, because they'd obviously, he wasn't working full time on the show, but you think back the past 2 seasons.
Yeah, there's been a lot.
There was season 8 he was in every story. Season 9 he still featured in sort of 2, maybe 3. And then, of course, in this season as well, he's popped up. So he's a sort of a regular character still at this stage, and a regular part of the sort of Doctor Who family. Just a very defining figure of the Pertwee era. Not just, the Master, but particularly Roger Delgado as the Master. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, very sad. Yeah. But a great performance.
Yeah, definitely a great story. I mean, obviously, although there's no sort of resolution or rounding up for the character, particularly here, it's a strong story at least. It'd be a shame to have gone out on Colony in Space or something like that.
Farming in space.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. So
yeah.
So yeah, unfortunately that was it. We won't see any more of Roger Delgado, so
wow, okay. Yeah. Gosh. Yeah. Yeah. That's a bit of a somber tone, isn't it?
Well, yeah, very
Finishing
much
this
so.
story. Yeah. No, a very well done one, and I'm intrigued to see where the Daleks go in the next one. Because presumably
Yeah.
the Daleks feature in the next one, unless they completely bin off that entire cliffhanger.
Yeah. Sure. Well, I mean, yeah, I don't think it's too much of a spoiler to say yes, they are in the next one. I mean, and the story, unless we tried to really hide it, is called Planet of the Daleks. So,
Yes. Yeah.
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 So I'm quite looking forward to it. It's a story I really like. It was one of the ones that was on TV when I was younger, so
Right.
I'm
Very
quite
nice.
looking forward to watching it again.
Yes. I'm hoping for another chase, but I doubt we'll get that in the Pertwee era.
No, not so much, but I think it's an enjoyable one. So yeah,
Okay.
I look forward to watching it.
Well, if you'd like to join us for that, do subscribe if you haven't done so already, and you'll be first to know when we release new videos. And do join our Discord community if you'd like to chat through some of these things a bit more. And we have a Patreon as well in the description for full commentary tracks for these episodes. So do go and check that out. But yeah, thank you, Paul.
Thanks very much. Thanks, everyone. Take care.
Thanks for watching, everyone. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.